So today was the 26th of Menachem Av, but tonight currently is the 27th of Menachem Av. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on. So we can see that the numbers of Menachem Av are getting closer and closer to 30 to 30 to to 30 is the last day. So we're almost at Rosh Chodesh Elul. So let's talk a little bit about Rosh Chodesh Elul, and that is the Hayom Yom for tonight and tomorrow. So the month of Elul is the month of reckoning. In the material world, if a businessman is to make sure that his business is as it ought to be and yields great profit, he must periodically take an accounting and correct all the deficiencies. Likewise, in the spiritual abode of serving Hashem. So it's kind of funny because for us, it's such a normative thing to constantly evaluate. We evaluate on our birthday. We evaluate a little bit at the end and the beginning of every month. There's a sort of a stock taking. We constantly looking and sort of refining and questioning our practice and our progress. And of course, once a year, getting ready for Elul, it's such a Jewish thing to do, to look back and say, how are we doing? Where can we improve? Tzedakah, tefillah, Torah, and to like really analyze ourselves. And it's not like general practice in the world. So just like a business has to do that auditing, so we have to do our auditing as well. Our spiritual avoda, our business of serving Hashem, we need to take an audit. Throughout the year, all of Bnei Israel are occupied with Torah and mitzvot and developing and expressing good traits. And the month of Elul is the month of auditing. When people are getting an audit, when their business is getting an audit, all the books are open, everything's available for evaluation. People are a little nervous. What's the auditor going to find? So the month of Elul, we're being audited. When every Jew, each one commensurate with his or her abilities, whether scholar or businessman, must make an accurate accounting in his soul of everything that has occurred in the course of the year. Now, we have a lot of information coming at us. We have a lot of distractions, the online, the news. But if you can imagine, the Chofetz Chaim, I think it was the Chofetz Chaim, could take a stock taking of every second of his day. And if there was a minute unaccounted for, he was aware of the fact that between 3 and 3:10, he wasn't being so mindful about this or that or whatever. So to even think that we can go back and think about the whole year and do a stock taking, there are people, and we have had teachers who could literally account for each and every minute and each and every day. So it's just something to consider. Each person should know the good qualities in his service of Hashem and strengthen them. So it's not only about being critical, you have to see what you did good as well. He must also be aware of the deficiencies in himself and his service and correct these. So don't be biased against yourself and not count the good, and don't be too generous to yourself and not count the slips. Through this excellent preparation, a person merits a good and sweet year, materially and spiritually. So, yeah, so I just want to send a text to this person that we're learning tonight. Okay. So yeah, so that is, so through this preparation, we'll have a good and sweet year materially and spiritually. And basically, what this is saying is that things don't just happenstance. We need to set goals. We need to be mindful. We need to set ourselves upon courses of action. We need to put ourselves in the place where we want to be, and then Hashem can reward us and bless us with the year according to our preparation. If we just like leave everything to, oh, whatever, Hashem's got it taken care of. It's good to have imun and bitachon, but it's also good to be conscientious about one's own place and space and evolution and development. So that is a Jewish thing to do. And starting Rosh Chodesh Elul, which is from today, 1, 2, 3, just 4 days away. So, and talking about the weather, because we're talking about cool days and warm days, and is the summer over? There is a very famous saying in Lubavitch that when Elul came, they would start to feel the breeze of tshuva, the winds of tshuva would start to blow. And I've actually been in places where there were a lot of Lubavitchers, and as Rosh Chodesh came in, Elul, like one could feel like a little chill breeze from autumn coming in, even if there were summer days, and people like, that's what they say, the winds of tshuva start blowing in Elul. So sometimes you can, it's sort of, you start to feel it, begashmis and beruchnis. Okay. So coming into Parshas Re'eh, just on a personal note, when I went to Eretz Yisrael after high school, this was the Parsha that the seminary spent a good portion of the year learning, Parshas Re'eh, and then it's my eldest son's Parsha, Bar Mitzvah Parsha, and it's my son-in-law's Bar Mitzvah Parsha as well. So there's a lot of personal connection to this Parsha. So
Can I add something too?
yeah,
Um,
sure.
my only sibling, my brother, who passed away about 10 years ago, unfortunately. But we discovered in looking up things for the Matseva and everything that he was born on Shabbos Parshas Re'eh and he passed over on Shabbos Parshas Re'eh. Now they
Wow.
weren't the same dates in the Jewish calendar, obviously, or even in the secular calendar, but pretty remarkable. We thought it was
That
so
is,
remarkable
wow.
that we included it on his Matseva.
All
I'm
right.
sorry to.
And his neshama should have an aliyah. What's his
Mhm.
what's his name?
Daniel ben Yechiel.
Daniel ben Yechiel should have an aliyah, and our learning should give him nachas and be a
Mhm.
schus for his evolution
Amen.
on
Amen.
high.
Amen.
Okay, so it all should be ringing bells while I'm learning it and thinking, yeah, 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 I did this in depth, but it was a long time ago. It's not like I'm looking at it and the bells are going off. But anyway, okay, so sharing the Parsha, sharing with you. So the name of the Parsha comes from the first word of the Parsha, as it often does. And the first word of the Parsha is Ra'eh, which is see, Ra'eh, see. Anochi nosen lifnechem hayom bracha uklala. Look and see, or see, that I am setting before you today the formula of the blessings and the curses. And the blessing, and this translation has a few little words interspersed with it. The blessing will be intended to motivate you to heed the commandments of Hashem your God that I'm commanding you today. And the curse will follow if you do not heed the commandment of Hashem your God, but turn away from the path that I'm commanding you today by following other people's deities whom you did not know. So, so we're still in this lecture that Moshe is giving the Yidden before they go into Eretz Israel. And he's going to be telling them that not right now, but when they come into Eretz Israel, there's going to be some people who are going to stand up and announce all the blessings and all the curses, and they're going to be facing Mount Gerizim and Mount Eval, which is going to happen. It's not happening now because it says, I'm placing before you the blessings and the curses, but we don't read about them now. We're going to read about them later. And so just before we go on, I just want to share some idea of this parsha, of this want to share something about this. So let's see. Um, okay. So let's see. Yeah. So this is from Dovbe Pinson again. And I was just in his neighborhood today, Montebello, where he set up a really beautiful community and shul. And so I quote him often, but he's local to us here in Rockland County. Anyway, so Re'eh, behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing as you listen to the commandments of Hashem. I command you this day, and a curse if you do not listen. So he's going to say that we can read this verse differently. He's going to suggest that what the pasuk says is, I set before you this day. I set before you this day. That's what I'm setting before you. And then it's up to you if you're going to turn that into a blessing or a curse. So it's a different nuance. Do you hear the different nuance? On the one hand, Hashem is saying, I'm setting before you today a blessing and a curse. If you listen to my commandments, you're going to get the blessing. If you don't listen to my commandments, you're going to get the curse. But there's a different way of reading it. The different way is, I'm setting before you this day. That's what I'm putting in front of you, the moment, the now. And whether or not it's going to be a blessing or a curse is going to be kind of up to you. So it's a little different. It's got a slightly different nuance. So I'm going to his essay follows that idea that the choice of whether we're going to experience blessing or curse is not just, well, anyway, let's read it inside. The day, the present moment that is now presented to us each day anew can be viewed as and made into a blessing or a curse. I've set before you a blessing and a curse means the choice is up to us. It is up to us whether it becomes a blessing or chas v'shalom, a curse. Rather than being mere recipients of life, dealing with whatever is presented to us, we can co-create in life, living from the inside out and choosing to interpret reality proactively. We can be the director of our own film. So I've said this story many times, and I don't know if you remember when the son of the Alter Rebbe went traveling, and he heard the Parsha of blessings and curses read by someone other than his father. And when he heard the curses, he
Mhm.
got ill. And they said, but you've heard the Torah read so many times before. So he said, when my father read them, I didn't hear them as curses. So we've spoken, and at this last retreat, we spoke about what a curse is and what a blessing is. We spoke about that in quite a lot of detail. But anyway, so we have the choice to see life and recognize that all of it is in place to help us achieve blessing or the opposite. Blessing means to proliferate, increase, flow, progress, evolve higher. To see life as a blessing means to behold everything as a tool and an opportunity to help us grow and advance. All circumstances can be leveraged for living more authentically, being in touch with our deepest nature, achieving our soul's purpose in the world. Every encounter, even a challenge and a setback, can help us progress spiritually and better our lives. And this is how one can see blessing everywhere. So what I've noticed in life, and I could say in my years up till now, all my many years, is that judgment comes in and defines for us so many things that then we can say this is a bad experience and this is a good experience. And it's interesting because my daughter-in-law just had a baby, Baruch Hashem. You heard about it. The bris was on Tisha B'Av. And she kind of is part of this, I don't want to say movement, but she was very influenced by people who were saying, don't call them contractions, don't call it pain, call it wave, call the contractions waves, and instead of calling the pain, call it a sensation. And I actually remember, and went to a dance workshop when I was in college. And the dance workshop was really about pleasure and pain. And it was so interesting to me because the teacher, the dance teacher, who I was so impressed with, I ended up inviting her to my wedding. She invited us to find a movement that was very awkward and very painful, like to kind of like move our body into such a way that was kind of unpleasant and awkward, and then to reframe that same movement into a pleasure, that the intensity of the movement, instead of being painful, became by the reframing into something that was pleasurable. And I've understood since then that it's really the framing of something. So so that's pretty much what he's saying, that something that could be perceived as a curse could actually be interpreted in a very different way to be a blessing. So when I said, I've set before you this day, what you have is this day, not today, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Every day is always new. No 2 days have ever been the same. And so that's, so I thought that that was a very nice thing. Okay, so I just want to see if there's anything new here, if I need to read the whole thing. Um, okay, okay, okay. So what basically the point of Dov Pinson's wording over here is we get the capacity in this week's Parsha to receive the ability to more deeply understand our unique journey and the ever unfolding blessings in the present moment in all circumstances that we encounter, guiding us along this journey. We receive support in choosing to see our unique circumstances in life, pushing us towards our authentic self. Okay. So that's just one perspective on that idea. And then there's another perspective. So that was from Dovbe Pinson, and here's a different perspective. So Dina Bracha, welcome. I don't know if you didn't know we were learning or you were just busy, but I'm glad you're here. Okay. So so the short the short version of this, right? Behold, I've set before you a blessing and a curse, is you do good, you follow the commandments, I will reward you with blessing, or you will receive curse as, a form of a punishment, or one is a consequence of the other. When you don't follow, like I've said a million times, the railway car on the railway track, you're not going to get blessing. You're not in sync with the program. So you're going to constantly be having problems. But here's a different interpretation from the Sfas Emes, who always gives us a kind of below the surface spiritual approach to understanding these words. See, I place before you this day a blessing and a curse, the blessing that you listen, etc. The Midrash here says that both soul and Torah are compared to candles. The soul in the verse, a candle of the Lord, is the soul of man. So the candle of the Lord is the soul of man. So Hashem's light is the soul within all of us. And Torah, the commandment is a candle and Torah is a light. So both our soul and Torah are things connected to light, something that illuminates, two different things that have this aspect of light and illumination carried, connected to them. Hashem says to the person, my candle is in your hand and yours is in mine. Now, this is something that the Sfas Emes talks about all the time, and it's a very profound thing. In everything, there is a living point from the life of life. So I guess Rabbi Nachman talks about the Nakuda Tova, here he's talking about, and because this is translated into English, I don't have the Hebrew words, but in everything there's a living point from the life of life. In other words, everything that exists in the world has a spark of godliness in it, a light of life. But that inwardness lies hidden in this world. The godly spark, the godly thing, the the godliness inherent in everything is often hidden. The Jew has to arouse and reveal this inwardness that lies within all things by means of the commandments. And in other words, the world potentially could be seen almost in a neutral fashion, and all of the godliness is kind of hiding. And then it's up to us to reveal this positive aspect, this holy aspect, this aspect of connection and life force and godliness and whatever. We've got to untap it. We've got to walk around with the little magic wand, or if you think of Moshe's staff, and everything we encounter, we've kind of got to touch it with our magic wand of our own consciousness and see buried in each item the hidden spark of God. That's really what we're supposed to be doing. So the Jew has to arouse and reveal this inwardness that lies within all things by means of the commandments. Every action, every deed involves some divine command, either something you're doing or something you're not doing. If you're doing it, you're trying to reveal that light through an action. And if you're not doing it, you're trying to not conceal that light through another action. So through the mitzvot, we all bring our deeds near to Him. This is the meaning of my candle is in your hand. Each person has to give light to the hidden point, which is as though in prison, until we have the strength to light up this darkness. So this is very powerful stuff. Susan, it's so good to see you. So good to see you.
Thank you. You'll see me soon. I'll be in the light.
Yes. Well, we're talking about the light, so we can also dedicate the class to the Refuah Shalema of Golda Talia Chaya Bashoshana.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much. And everybody prayers. Thank you.
I am Livrach.
So, okay, so I was just about to say that what I just read, and what was it that I just read? Each person has to give light to the hidden point, which is though in prison, until we have the strength to light up its darkness. This is a very powerful teaching that we completely underestimate who we are, and we completely underestimate the power of our deeds, and we completely underestimate the power of our soul, and we completely underestimate the power of our blessings, and we completely underestimate the power of our tefillot, and we completely underestimate our ability to change the world just through our actions and through our thoughts and through our speech and through our mitzvahs. And if we would really be connected to how powerful we are, then we would understand that we, each and every one of us, have the power to bring light into the world through everything we're encountering and everything we're doing all the time. If we kind of take that magic wand and tap the light in the rock or the whatever, and bring out the potential in each and everything. And so the Sfas Emes is saying that this point, the revealing of this light buried in every circumstance and buried in every object and buried in every event, moment, life, rock, tree, bird, whatever, this point is itself the blessing. This is the bracha that it says that you listen. When you attach yourself to the point within each thing, you will come to see that that is the blessing. Then indeed, Re'eh, you will be seeing. And then he says, how do you see this good buried in everything? By negating yourself to this point, to this Nakuda Tova and everything. So it's a little bit mystical, but to walk around knowing that there's this Rabbi Nachman calls it a Nakuda Tova, and he says this good point in every person, but he's talking about a point of light in everything, and that we see that light the more we kind of become bittul, the more humble we become, the more open to Hashem's revelation, the more we are empowered to see that. And that's when we're going to see the blessing more and more, when Hashem says, behold, I'm putting in front of you today, pause, and then the blessing or the curse. How are you going to see what's in your today? This is the meaning also of Shabbos, of which it says, and he blessed. Shabbos is a self-negation and inclusion within the point. That is where the blessing dwells. The sages also spoke of peace as a vessel that holds blessing. So this is also a point from Hashem. It fills all things to be and is called peace because it is the fullness of all things. So
what sefer are you learning?
This is the Sfas Emes, and it's translated into English, and it's called Truth.
Wow.
And it's a very interesting sefer, very deep, I think, and very worthwhile. I'm going to read one more essay. It's not very long from him, and then we'll move on. So it's another little vignette, I would say, on the same pasuk of, behold, I'm placing before you a blessing and a curse. The blessing that you listen to the commandments of Hashem, your God, that I command you this day, and the curse if you do not listen. Okay. So note that in the blessing it says that you listen, but in the curse it says if. So he's saying that the blessing is kind of more taken for granted that you're going to listen, and the curse is only if you don't listen. So he's saying goodness exists within the Jewish people by their very nature, and sin is only incidental. So this is something worth pausing to talk about. Let's say there's a very healthy family with very healthy, emotionally healthy parents, and the food in the house is healthy, no sugar, preservative, dyes, all the crazy stuff that make kids hyperactive. Let's say they have a good Seder, the children go to sleep on time and they eat protein and they're not protein deprived and they're not over sugared and they're not, full of dyes and preservatives and whatever. Let's say the father and the mother have a good relationship and communicate well with their children, listen and respect their children, and are attentive to their needs. What are the chances that when that child comes to school, he's crazily acting out and becoming a problem, temperamental behavioral problem? Not such a high degree. So basically, the Sfas Emes is saying that when we're healthy, not sinning is our natural way of being. We're not built to sin all the time. Of course, we have a Yetzer Hara, and there's a whole world dedicated to not listening to the Yetzer Hara. But if we're healthy and we plugged in and we connected, our nature is not to sin. Let's just say that's what he's saying. Goodness exists within the Jewish people by their very nature. Sin is only incidental. That is why a Jew's good intentions are joined to his deed, even if inadequate according to the law, but such is not done with ill intentions. Israel as a whole certainly heard and accepted the Torah. Even if they have fallen away since then, each day they are given the choice anew. I place before you this day. The eye of receiving the Torah allows the two choices to stand before us every day. Thus we are taught to accept the yoke of Hashem's rule each day as we receive the Shema, this is what it says that you should hear, that you listen. Even if there is some sin, and indeed there is no one so righteous as to do good and never sin, it is only passing. It's not our true nature. And also there's another quote that says that nobody sins unless they surrender to a ruach shtus. A ruach shtus is a spirit of folly. It's not their nature. It's a spirit of folly. But anyway, okay, so that's just some thoughts about the opening verse of Re'eh. But basically and then we go into what else is mentioned in the Parsha, and Moshe is basically telling them that, first of all, when they come into the land and they take possession of the land, they have to be very careful that the nations that they're displacing in the land, or that they coming to claim the land from, are evil nations that are involved in all kinds of unholy things, and that they have to really guard themselves against getting involved with all these avodah zoras. So you're coming into the land and you're coming to possess the land. But from all the places where the nations that you will take over performed acts of worship, on the mountains, the hills, and under every tree, you should progressively destroy their gods until nothing remains of their gods, demolish their altars, smash their monuments, burn their adulterous trees, cut down the graven images of their gods, spoil the names of their gods with ridicule, ensuring that they have no respect from that place. Like really, really, really get rid of the avodah zaras. Oh, Ricky Rose actually calling me. I think I called her by mistake when we were looking at the thing.
That's funny.
I can say Ricky Rose called me. Okay. So, okay. So I was learning Navi with my grandson on Shabbos, and we were learning Malachim, which is kings,
Thanks. Mhm.
story of all the kings. And it's so terribly sad how many Jewish kings were so
Yeah, really.
over to idol worship. They were blatantly idol worshiping. And it's hard for us to, I could think it's hard for us to imagine how Jewish kings, and that they're written up in our holy books, this king and that king, completely and unashamedly and absolutely given over to idol worship. And very intense. But then again, we look at our current affairs and we see that in the land of Israel, there are people completely, not, we have people into very different things and believing very strongly in very different ideologies. So the Torah is not happy with avodah zorah, which means avodah zorah means service that is strange to you, service that is strange to your forefathers. It means not the Jewish path. It means a strange service. So there could be service that is, meaningful, maybe whatever, but it's not the path that your fathers were told to walk on. That's not. And we know tons of stories of Eliyahu going up and, making a competition between this avodah zorah and Hashem, and we always win. Hashem always wins these competitions because these avodah zorahs don't have power, but they have publicity, they have false news, they have PR, they have a whole mechanism of things that get people to believe in them, and then they don't believe in Hashem. So you're coming into the land, you've got to absolutely get rid of all of that. And so that's very important. And then there's the story of where you are allowed to give sacrificial worship, that at some point Hashem is going to choose a place where his name is going to be there, and that's where you should bring your offerings, and you shouldn't just you should bring your offerings to that place. and uh, and okay, so then we're talking about burnt offerings, and then there's a lot about sacrificial eating sacrificial different the status of food that's been kind of committed to sacrificial purposes, and then this very famous commandment that we are not allowed to add or subtract anything from the Torah. Et kol hadavar asher anochi mitzavacha etchem oto tishmeru la'asot lo tosef alive. So let's just go to this on inside because this is very important. So we come to verse 13 here, and it's already in the next one, the next aliyah here. It's not the next aliyah. We've gone further than that. Let's see. Sorry, it's Yud Gimel Aleph. Yud Gimel Aleph. Let's see. Yud Gimel Aleph. Yud Gimel Aleph. Sorry. Okay, sorry. I've just lost it in the we're in the third reading here. I'm sorry. We're in the third reading. Yud Gimel Aleph. Okay, that's Yud Gimel. There we go. Yeah. So, so we all know the story of Adam and Chava, and how Adam, maybe he thought that he has to give extra little encouragement to Chava not to break the commandment. Hashem told them not to eat from the fruit of the tree. And when Adam spoke to Chava, Adam says to Chava, Hashem said we're not supposed to eat from the tree, and we're not supposed to touch the tree. But Hashem never said anything about that. And then what happened was Chava touched the tree and nothing happened. So she's like, okay, I guess maybe nothing's going to happen if I eat from the tree either. So that he was absolutely adding to the Torah. So you're not supposed to do this. So this is here. Lo tosef elav velo tigra mimenu. Do not add and do not detract from any of the Torah. So if there are new mitzvahs that are not, we don't make up new mitzvahs, and nobody comes, and then this is what comes right afterwards. If there's a prophet or a dreamer, and he gives you a sign or a marvel, right, and miracles that happen, and beautiful things happen, but then he starts telling you, but we don't do this mitzvah anymore, and we don't do that mitzvah anymore, then you know that he's that you don't follow him. So then there's all the stuff about a false prophet. Let us go after other gods. Let us worship them. You shouldn't listen to his words. And of course, if he's telling you to do things that we don't do, you don't listen to. And then it speaks again about idol worship and the very stringent laws against having no mercy, really, about somebody being involved in idol worship. It's a very stringent rules, and trying to keep us very far away. And then here we have the Torah fundamentals about kashrut, that do not eat any abomination, and it actually tells us which are the animals we can eat and which are the animals that we can't eat. And people say this is incredible because this is the Torah written all those hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and they haven't found any other animals that are kosher that are not in this list. And so we know what the kosher animal is, right? It has to have a split hoof and chew the cud, and it says a deer, a gazelle, a fallow deer, an ibex, an addax, a bison, and wild sheep. I think an addax, in my other translation it said a giraffe. So I don't know if that's an addax because it said a giraffe. But all the deer right now, I don't know if you saw, but they're handing out licenses for people in the area to start killing deer. Deer are kosher animals. We could be having a nice source of lots. I never go shopping and ever see kosher deer. And they
I don't
No.
see it too often either.
People don't usually
You'd
sell
have
it.
to shecht it properly and
Right.
you have to be domesticated to do
Right.
that, probably, unless
That's
you're allowed.
true.
No,
And
they don't
if
have to
you
be
hunt,
domesticated.
Because there's such an overpopulation. They
right.
have to, you know,
Yeah,
and
they
they
don't
can't,
have to be domesticated.
right, they can't
Well,
control it
actually,
really
if you
any other
hunt
way.
them,
Kill it the right way.
Interestingly.
Your Kova's right. If they're hunted, then they're not kosher because they have to be shechted. So if a person takes their rifle and shoots the deer, we can't eat it. Has to
Then
be
how do
Perhaps they
you,
could be trapped in a humane trap and then shechted wild. I don't know,
right.
but I don't really
Right.
know.
But it would be nice if we had less deer. I'm sorry to say. I'm not.
no, it is. It's
I,
It's
very,
also very, very healthy meat,
yeah.
mhm.
Well,
and it would be free.
yeah. And then the animals that every land animal whose feet are not partially or do not have a split hoof, you can't eat those animals. So we know
Right.
about the pig that he shows that he has a cloven a split hoof, but he doesn't chew the cud. So and these that
What is it?
regurgitate the cud. Does somebody know what regurgitate the cud means? Just so that we're
It
all on the same page.
like comes
They chew
up,
it and they swallow
right,
it, and then it comes back
comes
again
back
and they
up.
chew it. For some reason, that's an
Yeah.
important sign of kosher.
Yeah,
And
because it had, I think if I remember learning, I think it has sometimes to do with thinking thinking about doing if you're I think about doing something wrong, think twice about it, something along those lines. If I'm not mistaken, but it has to do with something along those lines. That's what I
right.
remember learning.
Well, I guess it's connected to that idea of being mindful about our actions and
Hmm.
like not just, you know, um, going through. I actually heard a beautiful shir today um, about how we shouldn't be mindless consumers. It was supposed to be on, it was on Re'eh, and it was talking about the fact that we weren't given permission to eat meat until we came into Eretz Yisrael. Then we were supposed to eat it, but we're not supposed to desire it. He was talking about the problem with desire, desiring things that um, desiring things that you don't have the means to have. And I'm not going to really go into what he said, but he was speaking about the fact of curbing one's consumerism. So, but anyway, talking about this chewing of the cud is that if you're going to consume something, it's not just eat, swallow, eat, swallow, eat, swallow. It's that the animal eats, swallows, and then thinks about it, so to speak, like you're saying, and then brings it back. It's
Hmm.
like a kind of not so fast with the swallowing and the chewing. It's like it's got this
Hmm.
extra step in. Okay, so the camel, the hare, all of these they're not kosher, and the pig he has the feet, but he doesn't chew the cud. So all of these things, and then the fish and the scales. Fishes have to have fins and scales. So all of these things the Torah is speaking about, and it talks about all these different species and all these different things. And in all the time since then to now, they haven't found different species that don't fit in with this list, apparently. And then we have also the idea of the first fruit, um, and it's very the idea of the this tithing uh, um, that that we're speaking about this tithe, that you tithe all the produce of the seed that the field yields year by year. And you have to eat this tithe of your grain, your wine, and your oil, as well as the firstborn of your cattle and of your flocks, before Hashem your God, in the place in which you will choose to attach his name, so that you may learn to revere Hashem your God always. And this idea of having this aspect of tzedakah, this aspect of giving, this aspect of on everything that you have, you're taking your tithe, bringing it to Yerushalayim, and having that consciousness. There's the divine promise, aseh ta'aseh, as explained by sages of blessed memory, that through giving tithes and tzedakah, a person will not only reduce what he has, but on the contrary, it will be greatly increased to the degree of riches. And although the mitzvot in general, including tzedakah, must be fulfilled not for the sake of reward, but because Hashem, the creator and master of the world, commanded them, nevertheless, Hashem has given the assurance of a generous reward, aseh ta'aseh, both materially and spiritually. So, with regard to tzedakah, and I guess tithing is very much a part of that,
Mhm.
in terms of, because also if you have so much produce that it's hard for you to carry, you can bring money and then come into Yerushalayim and purchase what with that money, and then be involved with those things there. But also in general, tzedakah is the one thing where apparently we can even test Hashem, that we're not supposed to do things in order to receive a reward.
Mhm.
But it says if you give tzedakah, you will get a reward. And Hashem promises you, and he even says you can, I don't know the exact verse, but you can test me on it.
Mhm.
Give more and I'll give you more. Through
Mhm.
your giving, so you will be rewarded in your giving. So,
I could tell
um,
you that is 1,000% true. I've been in situations and it just like whatever, if I needed something or I just can tell you, I literally, and it wasn't even like that much tzedakah, but it just, Hashem really did. It really, like I really, when I needed it, I don't know. It's like sometimes I would find extra money in my wallet. How it got there, I have no idea. Or, you know, um, I just had a story where I don't know what happened. I have like this little my fun jar, and I put like money in there every day. I have like my tzedakah and my fun jar. And I came home one day, and like most of the money was gone. Now I have no idea what happened to it. And I wasn't going to like my cleaning lady started bringing a helper around, but you know what? I wasn't going to say anything. It wasn't like a lot of money, whatever it was, okay? But I was using that money though to do certain things. Anyway, not only did I somehow that week things came through and I had not only that money, but I was repaid by extra money
wow.
from Hashem. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely the power of tzedakah.
So, I mean, I was listening because I was driving all the way down to Long Branch. So I listened to a different shir also about this woman speaking about tzedakah, and uh, it's such a quintessential Jewish trait of giving
Hmm.
that uh here it says, if there will be amongst you a destitute person among one of your brothers in your locale, in your
Hmm.
land that Hashem your God is giving you, you must not harden your heart. You must
Right.
not close your hand to the destitute. Rather, you must open your hand for him or lend him enough for his needs, whatever he is lacking. So if I read this pasuk, ki patach tiftach es yadecha. So this was Rabbanit Cohen. She was talking about this actual fact of the wording here. Ki patach tiftach et yadecha. You must surely open your hand to this person. And why this idea of focusing actually on the hand itself? And she said that when a baby is born, the baby is born with a clenched fist. A lot of
Hmm.
babies have clenched fists, and it's kind of me, mine, I'm crying, change my diaper, feed me now. That's the clenched fist. And I don't know if there's a pasuk or an idea it's brought down in Chazal that when a person passes away, their hand is open. Their hand is open, that you can't really take anything with you when you go to the next world. And that when a person has to train themselves to have that open hand, so that basically to work on your nature, and that she had a connection to, if you open your hand like a person who's going to who's got almost like surrendered their ego, almost like a person who's passed away, that there's something kind of beneficial to your soul on that level, as opposed to clenching your fist like the baby saying me and mine. This aspect of tzedakah, and that if a person was found to be incredibly mingy or ungenerous, they were saying, well, you can't be from the descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. You must be actually a foreigner. Maybe there's something with your lineage, because it's such an incredibly Jewish trait, this idea of tzedakah. So, um, uh, yeah, and then it goes into the holidays, counting the Omer, Sukkot, the Shalosh Regalim, and that is uh, that is kind of bringing us. So just a little bit more on Tzedakah, and then with that we'll end. And I'm still sharing. How do I stop the share? I don't know how I stop the share at this point. Let's see.
We can see you. We can see
Yeah.
you just.
Okay.
We don't see anything shared this on the screen.
Oh, you
so-
don't see anything shared?
No, there's nothing. No.
Oh, okay. All right. So by giving it tzedakah, a person's mind and heart become refined 1,000 times. Our sages praised the greatness of tzedakah, considerably equating it with all the other mitzvahs together. Throughout the Jerusalem Talmud, charity is called simply the commandment, since that used to be the normal way to refer to tzedakah, because tzedakah is the most important of the practical mitzvot. In other words, if you would put tzedakah on one side and all the other mitzvahs of the Torah on the other side, tzedakah is equal to them all. For the purpose of all the mitzvahs is to elevate one's vitalizing soul, which animates the physical body, to Hashem, since it is this vitalizing soul alone that is responsible for performing them. You will find no other mitzvah in which the vitalizing soul is elevated to the same extent as the mitzvah of tzedakah. Why is that? Because it says a person uses his whole body, mind, sweat, tears, all of his effort to make the money that he's going to be giving away. He used all of himself. So when he gives away money that he worked hard to give, he's giving away from all of himself. All of himself was involved in that mitzvah. For in the case of all other mitzvahs which require action from just one part of the body, only one aspect of the soul becomes involved. Even this one faculty is only involved in the mitzvah at the moment when the mitzvah is being performed. I guess I just said what it's going to say. However, in the case of tzedakah, a man gives away the toil of his hands, and certainly all the faculties of his soul were immersed in doing his manual work or other business through which he earned. So he's basically turning it all over. Even one who does not earn a living from toil could nevertheless have used this money that he gave to tzedakah to buy so many different things. So in that way, he's also really elevating and transforming many aspects of himself through the mitzvah of tzedakah. So a lot of things in Re'eh, the idol worship thing, the tithing thing, the tzedakah thing, the kashrut thing,
A lot of things.
the spiritual,
That was good.
the part really from the beginning, the pieces that we learned from Dov Pinson, when it says Re'eh, behold, I'm placing in front of you today. And
Mhm.
in the day, find blessing in your
Can
day.
you spell Pinson?
Pinson.
Because I can never find him on Amazon. Been wanting to get his book forever. One of
That's
his
so
books.
funny. He's right there. He's
Maybe if you fit a link, maybe you send it to me.
yeah, Dov Bear, Rav, R-A-V, then Dov Bear, D-O-V-B-E-R, and then Pinson, P-I-N-S-O-N.
I'll try again.
Shouldn't be hard to find. And then the words from the Sfas Emes about how really, and this is echoing the messages from Rav Nachman, Rabbi Nachman, that it's incumbent in us to find the godliness and the light and the Nakuda Tova, or the light, the spot of light in everything and in every circumstance. And in that way, when Hashem says, I'm presenting to you the blessings and the curses, the blessing is to look and find and seek that out, but also to know that we will come to when the Yidden do pass into Eretz Israel, and they will stand and recite many blessings, and they will stand and recite some pretty hectic curses. And somehow to understand that even those curses are corrections. They're not meant to be punishments, but if we sway or swerve so off the path, we need path corrections, and that's where the klalas come in. So that's what I have for tonight. And
Thank you.
thank you for
Mhm.
all
Thanks so
listening.
much, Bracha. Wow.
That was
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So
So great that you taught like the day after. I'm sure you were
yeah,
somewhat,
I'm going
Yeah.
to get in my bath now, because the
yeah.
place where I was studying didn't have
Yeah.
where I was staying didn't have a bathtub. Had a
Mhm.
shower, but not a bathtub.
Oh,
So I
Right.
need to get
wow.
into
Your
my
muscles are
bathtub.
probably hurting.
Yeah.
Good for
Thank
you.
God. Baruch Hashem, not too bad. Not
So
too bad.
great.
Thank
Good.
you. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Thanks
Bracha.
also
very
for
much.
posting the pictures and everything too. It was so great.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was really cool.
yeah, it was really I'm so happy I did it, and it was so nice to feel like people kind of joined in with the whole thing, and
Mhm.
felt like people support, so that was really nice. So
That is not, yeah.
yeah, okay. All the
Good
best.
night. Be
Have
well.
a great night,
Good
everybody.
Shabbos.
Have a good
Good
night.
Shabbos,
Good
everybody.
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos. I
Shabbos.
Speak to you
can't quite
soon.
find my controls on my thing here, so I don't know I'm going to be able to close this out, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Okay.
Somehow
Well,
my
Thanks.
controls disappeared. Where did, oh, there they go. Okay.
oh, okay.
All right. All the
Okay,
best to
so
everyone.
long.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right, bye-bye.